Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Houston Sports Talk back into the video today, and today we're going to be talking about the New York Giants potentially signing wide receiver Gabe Davis, as there have been some rumors about the Giants potentially signing Gabe Davis. They hosted him for a visit, and there's a long, history between Gabe Davis and Giants head coach Brian Daboll, who was the former Bills offensive coordinator, and that's where the history between Davis and Daboll come from. In their both of their days in Buffalo, and so that's why it wouldn't be a huge surprise if Davis ended up in New York with the Giants as that fourth wide receiver on the team. Obviously, they've got a lot of talent. I think at the wide receiver position when it comes to Malik Nabers, Darius Slayton, and with those two guys, you've got Wan'Dale Robinson. So that's a really good wide receiver group, especially for a guy like Russell Wilson. I think those three wide receivers were spectacular last year, not playing with a great quarterback. Now you add in Russell Wilson. That's one of the reasons why I think this Giants team has potential to be solid this year. With Russell throwing the football to those three guys. Not only that, plus the fact that they've got a really good defense and a good head coach. If Russell Wilson plays good football, I think this Giants team has potential. But if you can add to that wide receiver room for Russell with Gabriel Davis, that would be unbelievable. Because even though Gabe Davis isn't as good as he once was when he was at Buffalo, killing the Kansas City Chiefs like crazy the way he did in 2021, he had that monster game like we saw in 2021. Sure, he's not doing that, Or like in 2022 with Buffalo, he had 836 receiving yards, 7 receiving touchdowns. 2023 with Buffalo had 746 receiving yards and 7 receiving touchdowns. The way I see it, Gabe Davis hasn't really looked the same since Brian Daboll left the left the Buffalo Bills, and that's one thing that I will say. With that, I mean. It was Brian Daboll's last season in Buffalo. That was the year that we saw Gabe Davis just go off in the playoffs, and so I think Gabe Davis had some solid years after Daboll left to go to New York, but I think we saw him at his best when Daboll was the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. But the one thing, even though he's not as good as he was once was, and this year was a tough year, had 239 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns, only played 10 games, missed the last 7 games of the season due to an injury. The one thing I still think he does really well is, running deep routes and being a long threat in the wide receiver game, with whoever he's playing for. And that is something that can be great for Russell Wilson and this Giants offense. Having an extra guy that you can throw the ball downfield 40, 50 yards to and connect for a touchdown or just a big play. So I think it'd be a great fit for this Giants team. Davis is comfortable with Daboll. Daboll's comfortable with Davis. Russell Wilson has an extra guy to throw, a deep ball too. So I would say this would be a great signing for the New York Giants. But you guys in the comment section, let me know your thoughts, and peace out.